But joining me now on this subject is Mrs. RATIDZAI NDHLOVU. Mrs. RATIDZAI NDHLOVU, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Well, let's look at this very all-important subject. Very worrisome, I must say. Gender-based violence. Is it on the increase right now?
For us to have a clear picture of increase or lack of increase, you need to work on a baseline. So what I think we need is to have a very good national survey on gender-based violence. That will give us where we stand right now. Most of the data we use, some of it is coming from population centers, DHS, but sometimes you need a survey that is dedicated to gender-based violence. And I think this is very critical for our country so that we get data that is up to scale. Then we can easily measure ourselves to see whether we are doing well, whether it's getting better. We can only base on media reports, what we hear from stories, but we need, evidence-based, programming. And for us to say we are doing better or it's getting worse, we need that first.
Give us a clearer picture. What is this doing to the country?
From my own perspective, gender-based violence, especially that disadvantages the girl child, is draining the country in terms of its economy. It could be having greater economic growth if we had our girls' rights being respected. If we had our girls going to school, finishing their education, getting employed, and getting equal status like what any boy would get. You can be sure that all these millions of women and girls who drop out for whatever reason, who are abused and so cannot go on with school, who are raped and are suffering psychological trauma, all these is a potential for the country, because human resources is our biggest resource. Human resources is the biggest resource for any country. And as long as we lose these women, it's like we have our country standing on one foot. The other foot is lame or weak, it's not giving the support it could give, which is the women. So for me, it's really drawing the country back. We need the women on board.
You see, when you paint a picture like this, I also understand, and many people also say that domestic violence, gender-based violence, however you choose to put it, really is not helping the country, like you rightly put it. But do you think the government is doing enough in this regard? There have been proposed legislations in these areas, but are we really doing enough to stop this?
I think the problem lies in implementation of all these legislations. The problem we have, and it's not only in Nigeria, it's when policies are put in place. As people, as governments, as NGOs, as international communities, we put a green tick. Yes, we have this policy and we boast about, we have so many policies. We have this policy, we have revised this strategy and so on and so on. But this is paper and it's just put there. The challenge we have that we need to do, and even us as development partners, we need to support more, is to operationalize these policies. But it might mean translating policies into the local languages, taking it down to the communities, take them through the policy documents in their own language. This is a whole program that is quite demanding. But normally we don't go to that level. We keep it up at a high level, which does not help us. Because the people who matter, especially gender-based violence, it is in the communities. And when I say communities, it could be rural, it could be urban, it could be an educated family, an uneducated family. It's everybody. They need to understand these policies. And it is for us as development partners and government, supporting government, to, once a policy is done, like right now, we have the Health Act, the Health Bill. It needs to be translated. It needs to be taken down. Everybody understands what are the implications. What does it really mean? What does it contain? So I feel we do have policies, right policies, well-written policies, but it is getting them to the ground that is lacking, and we need to support that.
You said the UNFPA is, I know, are engaged in activities right now to boost girl-child education, and I know that there have been several research on this in these areas. What are you seeing on the field in some of these northern states especially?
The girl-child education program, you know, we just started this program in Kaduna, in just one state. But even in that one state, there was such evidence that the girl child is disadvantaged. Right from a very tender age, at adolescent stage, you know, 10, 12, 14, the girl is married. So automatically, the trajectory of her life changes. And unfortunately, when they get married, they don't continue with school. If they would continue in school, there would be some recourse to the damage that we do to this girl child. Because most of these girl children, like I said earlier, they're intelligent. They have all it takes to become the doctor they want to be. The girls have all it takes to become the lawyer they want to be. But their life is cut short, and they never realize their full potential. And what we realize is, I'm beginning to see some change. Almost everybody is in agreement that girls need to go to school. But how do we address those issues that make them not complete school?
That's a major problem right now.
That's why it is. Everybody in the room agrees that yes, we need to make sure that the girls go to school. Not only go to school, but retention, completion, they should complete. Keep them in school as long as is possible. So the question that really lies is, how do we do it? And I saw variations, you know, from state to state. Some are trying to put an age, which they decide according to their own state, which they say no girl should be married by this age, another one by that age. So it all differs, you know. I don't know what could be done to have like a federal agreement that this is how we should go, even at state level. I know states have some autonomy. They can put up their own policies. But if a state agrees that for us, girls should not be married until they are 13, and then they get married, they don't go to school, we're still in the same problem. So it's not just about having laws, but what are we saying in that law? Are we protecting the rights of the girl child? Will she be able to continue to go to school, even if she gets married or whatever happens to her? So for me, we need some clear policies, some clear direction, even from federal level, around girl child education. I'm happy many states are actually putting laws that make it mandatory for all girls to be in school.
As an aside, are you in support of girls getting married at the age of 18?
18 is the international standard age, where we say if you go to the Convention on the Rights of the Child, the age is 18. Below 18, it's a child. It's not yet a grown-up person who can be married. So 18 is the standard international. But you'll find that countries differ now. And in our country, we can say states are differing in terms of what age they are putting there. So that's something that can be looked at. But I do agree that after 18, the girl in school, by that time, is finished secondary school, she's mature, she's already gained a lot of knowledge, a lot of exposure, and she's likely to want to continue.
Hold on with your thoughts. We're still with the country representative of the United Nations Populations Fund. We'll be right back on this issue of gender-based violence. Join us again.
Though the Nigerian government has put in place key legislation that deals with child marriage, however, these legislations have either not been fully implemented or its implementation is not yielding the required results. Some of these laws dealing with child marriage include the Child Rights Act of 2003 and the Anti-Trafficking Act of 2003, as amended in 2005 by the NATIC Act.